Then, Monica, Wemby just doing things like this.
Well, it's cold, so he got to heat it up, get it warm, and that's exactly what he's doing.
Can you give me some analysis of this? Just watch Wembanyama coming from behind here. Look at this.
Okay, so it is freakishly athletic man tracks down regular basketball player.
By the way, the ball stayed on this side, and Black still wound up making the shot. It's a one-point game at halftime. Now, 8.5 minutes left in the third. I want you to watch Wemby on both ends of the floor. First, not even sure that counts as an alley-oop because he didn't have to jump. But now we're going to stay with the play, and here he is on the other end playing defense.
Man, Greeny, that wingspan is go-go gadget arms if I've ever seen them. And then he had a duck. Watch your head.
He had 5 blocks, and then watch him again in here. This is just, I don't even know what to say. 25 points, 8 rebounds, 4 steals, 5 blocks. Spurs win it 112-103. The big baguette is unlike anything you've ever seen in your entire life.
Ever.
Wembanyama recording his 45th game this year with at least 5 blocks, the most since entering the league. The next closest is Miles Turner with just 16. I should say the most since he's come into the league. That's how many, but one way or another, it's something that no one else is even remotely approaching doing. So it is safe to say Victor Wembanyama isn't getting traded anytime soon. We are 3 days away from the trade deadline, and I say that, and we laugh, but if I had told you 3 days ago, a year and 3 days ago, that Luka Doncic was about to get traded, you would have laughed as well. Today is the anniversary of this, the trade that will live in infamy forever in NBA circles and beyond. It was today that Luka Doncic was traded for a package that essentially revolved around the always injured Anthony Davis. And the question has arisen, is it the worst trade in NBA history? I don't even think that is a question. Hembo and I did a book in which we did lists of all these things. And what we had listed as previously the worst trade in NBA history had been Charlotte trading away the rights to draft Kobe Bryant to the Lakers, or after drafting Kobe Bryant to the Lakers for Vlade Divac. At that time, Kobe Bryant was a 17-year-old kid coming directly out of high school. Obviously, we've seen how history turns. In this case, Wendy, and I don't want to pile on, but the reality is what it is, and here we are on the anniversary of it. We had very known commodities and a move being made for reasons that will remain a mystery for the rest of my life. And here we are a year later, and about as predictable a result as we can possibly have imagined. What are the right things to say about the way the NBA has been completely reshaped by a trade that was made a year ago today?
Well, Anthony Davis has been put on the trade market less than a year later, and the general manager who made the trade was fired. And, you know, Luka arriving in L.A., I think there's a possibility the Buss family would have sold anyway, but not only has it reshaped the future of the Lakers franchise, give them a player to pivot to out of LeBron James, but it may have affected the ownership of the team and certainly maybe even slightly the value of the team. Luka still has to, you know, have the roster built out around him and sort of deliver on the promise. But he re-signed a contract in LA, committing himself to that franchise. And now the Lakers' entire future is built around Luka Doncic, and the Mavericks' future is built around Cooper Flagg, which he became an arrival in Dallas because Anthony Davis got hurt his first game as a Maverick. So it was a trade that, you know, doesn't need decades of perspective to put this analysis on it.
Monica, you're making exactly the right face. You're making the exact face that this deserves.
I remember. Now, I don't know if you remember this part, but I remember being like, okay, this actually might not be terrible for Dallas, capital I, capital F, if Anthony Davis is able to stay healthy. And so I do think that night, after we all realized that it was, in fact, a real trade, you did think about the possibility. But God, health is so wealth in sports. And I think the context that Greeny just shared, like, the fact that Anthony Davis gets hurt almost immediately. Now, obviously, Dallas could not have been in a better position when it comes to acquiring Cooper Flagg, but this will forever be a sports mind-blowing trade.
So the worst trade in sports history is generally considered to be the Boston Red Sox trading Babe Ruth to the Yankees in exchange for the rights to a Broadway musical called No No Nanette. I'm not making that up. That's an actual thing that happened. That's probably still worse than this. having never seen No No Nanette, I can't speak to it directly. But I can't imagine that anything else has ever been worse than this. Luka Doncic is going to be the centerpiece of the Los Angeles Lakers for over a decade. He is one of the 3 best players in the world, and that's probably not doing him justice. He's going to continue to be that, and the rest of it just sort of sits where it is. It just sort of felt windy on the anniversary, like putting a little punctuation on it. Give me a final thought.
Well, I will tell you this, is that it's totally changed the way all of us who work within the NBA evaluate possibilities of things. When we hear something, we'll say, well, there's no way that can happen, but well, I can't say that anymore because Luka got traded for AD. So I don't know how many championships, if any, Luka will win, and that will ultimately decide history. But it's changed the perspective of NBA business, and that's saying something.
Okay, fair enough. Let me leave that there for the moment. Again, it's not meant to be piling on. It's meant to be pointing out legendary Madison Square Garden. We'll have to wait and find out. Knicks defense has been locked down during their winning streak, allowing just under 92 a game over their last 6, fewest by any team over any 6-game stretch during this season. As I mentioned, Wendy is up with us early, but Monica, I'll give you the first crack at this, and that number sort of gives away the answer. But it's been a roller coaster for the Knicks. As recently as 2 weeks ago, people were asking, is this team falling apart? But then they're 2-9 and 11, whatever the stretch was. And now they've won 6 straight, and defense has been the reason why.
That's it. And I think, Greeny, I will be honest, rolling with these guys over the course of this stretch, you're like, okay, cool. You played Philly in a sort of a close game. You played Brooklyn. You got a Toronto team that's kind of falling off. You got a Sacramento team that's not really winning. How will this defensive effort that you're seeing over this stretch translate? Last night, you step up in weight class when you're dealing with the likes of Luka Doncic and LeBron James, and the communication and the accountability and the energy and effort on that side of the floor has definitely translated. So they really built some tenets that they hope to build on as you get to the All-Star break and beyond.
Yeah, so Winman, should we sort of put the kibosh on the Giannis to the Knicks conversation? I'll remind anyone who needs reminding, the trade deadline is later this week. Giannis is the big name in the middle of all of it. The Knicks are playing great right now. Should we not be thinking that way anymore, Winman?
I wouldn't say absolutely not, but the Knicks are not operating like a team that is going all in for Giannis. I don't believe that they can beat another team like Golden State's offer with just what they have to put on the table. They would have to go out there in the market aggressively, offer other players to pick up extra first-round draft picks, and we just don't have any indication if that's happening. If you look at what this Knicks team is right now, they have excellent wing defenders that they have invested enormous amounts in contracts, in assets to trade for them. They have a superstar that they believe can be a guy who leads them to playoff victories in Jalen Brunson. And Karl Towns, for no matter what anybody wants to say about what he might do night to night, he was just voted an all-star yesterday by the league's head coaches. They believe he's an all-star player. Over this 6-game win streak, he's plus 71. People have been counting his plus minus. He's plus 71. He was plus 23 yesterday. So is this a perfect team? It is not. If Giannis was available for this team, is it possible they would be better on the other side of it? You could create that case. But the Knicks, dating back months now, Greeny, have had opportunities to blow the market away in Giannis offers, and they have not done it. Looking at those actions, I can only deduce that they like this team, and they believe that this team can make a run in the playoffs. And so that then leads me to asking you about what Doc Rivers said to you yesterday. I was watching you guys, and you had Doc on, and Doc sounded very certain, and I get that he's the coach of the team, so he's going to say this, that we're going to get to the end of this week, and Giannis is still going to be a Milwaukee Buck. Is that your expectation now? I think I would lean like 51-49 just because the amount of alignment that has to happen for a Giannis trade. I just think that the Bucks will be in better position to make this trade in the summer than they are now. I think the offers, including an offer from the Knicks potentially, will only get better in the spring. And I also think it's important to realize that my question to Doc was, is Giannis going to play again this season? Because if he's still a Buck after Thursday, their best move is to shut him down and to tank. And Doc said, yes, he is going to play. So that's an interesting thing. We'll see whether that actually comes to fruition. Okay, so that's that part of it. We'll have more on the trading piece of it later. In the meantime, Monica, you saw the Lakers come in for their only visit to New York of the season. The stat that I found most interesting this morning,
the combination of LeBron, Luka, and Reeves have played a combined total of 8 games together out of the 48 games they've played this season. What do you think their ceiling, if healthy, if that threesome is healthy, what does their ceiling look like to you in the West?
I don't think this is a contender.
No.
You're not having that conversation, which is what matters when you talk about an organization that is so storied and wants to win championships.
Right.
Look, Luka Doncic is the piece that you are building around. Defensively, I mean, they came into the game, I think they've had 7 20-point losses over the course of the season, and now on the other end of that, they're 14-2 in clutch time games. So, like, there's a lot happening, but overall, I was not really impressed with the way that this team has the ability to defend. And if you look at the Western Conference, which they obviously would have to go through, they, to me, cannot keep up in that category with the powers in the West.
Now, Thunder, obviously, Spurs, Nuggets, Rockets, Timberwolves, all ahead of them right now. Windman, you were telling me this morning the Lakers are really looking to next summer, which begs the question, where will LeBron fit into all of their future plans?
Yeah, the Lakers' maneuvers for the last 6 or 7 months have been to rebuild their team in 2026 when they have $100 million in cap space and they can trade 3 first-round picks. Today, they can only trade 1. So LeBron's role in that will likely be, do you want to be a part of this? And if you do, will you adjust your contract demands? Because right now he's making over $50 million, and they have not built out this roster. 1 year into the Luka experience, they do not have their franchise center yet. They do not have their wing defenders. If LeBron is willing to take a pay cut, I think he can be a part of that future. And that could involve a strong offer for Giannis in the summer. The Lakers are one of the teams that can make a better offer for Giannis in the summer than they can today, but they can go a number